So I was reading detective fiction of written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct name. But let's read the biography first. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, most celebrated for his four novels and 56 short stories regarding the consulting detective Sherlock Holmes. Who don't know Sherlock Holmes? Like my 11th, 12th, still in college, I'm reading about Sherlock Holmes. Any, by the way, I had a minor subject called English literature, um, and under this, I'm reading about him. So, reading further, Sherlock Holmes was born on, I don't know what happens when this camera ons. I stutter and I don't know. I take time to speak or pronounce words. Like okay, relax. I had to make myself relax, and I really wanted to practice my speaking because it's been days. I'm not having conversation with people. Neither I'm reading books. I don't know what had happened. Uh, I guess okay. Coming back to reading, Sherlock Holmes was born on May 22, 1859, in Edinburgh to a Catholic family. Charles Edmond Doyle, his father was an artist and art architect. His father was artist and architect also. Unluckily, I'm sorry for pronouncing wrong. Unluckily, his talent was overshadowed by alcoholism and epilepsy. He finally died in an asylum where he was institutionalized. With the result, the family suffered economically. Like, this is when families suffered economically. Like, for a child, it is a nightmare, I think. At some points, I also had this experience. Um, I can't tell the story, but yes, uh, uh, there are point of times when mm, it seems like we'll face like I will suffer economically, but oh, by the grace of God, nothing had happened to us. But in his family, I mean Sherlock Holmes' family, his father was alcohol because of the alcoholism and epilepsy. His talent was overshadowed, and his in a suffering economically. Though Arthur's mother, Mary was capable. His mother was capable for his education at a just institution. Doyle decided. I guess I'm pronouncing this correct surname. Doyle decided to. I guess I had to take his name like Arthur Doyle. Doyle decided to go for medical studies at Edinburgh University and had to perform a job as a doctor's aide to pay for his school dues. He was already writing and publishing stories by this time. By getting to know this thing that he was writing and publishing story, I am thinking like I don't know. I also wanted to do something like writing work and publishing stories, and where and how I had no idea. But I guess um, I will figure out. But he set up a practice in South Sea. I'm sorry, South Sea in the early 1880s. During this period, he accomplished the first Sherlock Holmes novel, A Study in Scarlet. This was his first novel, which was published in Beaton's Christmas Annual in 1887. Now, Doyle modeled Holmes after his beloved university professor Joseph Bell, whom he deeply respected. The character of Sherlock Holmes, however, contained a lot of Doyle. Doyle is famous to have been analytical, thoughtful, of detail, methodical, though occasionally absent minded and clumsy, creative and reserved. He even solved a mystery of a missing individual in 1907 in only 1 hour's time. Like, this is amazing. Like, solving a mystery of an missing individual in just 1 hour. I don't know. This is possible. This case involved a countrywoman who was anxious that her cousin had been killed. Doyle deducted from the man's bank records, however, that he had simply moved out to the Scotland. Okay, this missing person was in Scotland. Moving further, in the two autobiographical works of Doyle's, these were the Stark Monroe Letters and Memories and Adventures. These two were the autobiographical work. The Stark Monroe Letters and Memories and Adventures. He didn't do considerable self analysis regarding his own character or spiritual issues like Homelocks. Oh, okay, again pronouncing the wrong word. Like Holmes, Doyle concealed his personal identity. Like Holmes, Doyle, who known as an energetic and exceptional person who would always take keen interest and disappear into his study for days. Like, I know about this. People do disappear in their studies, like for days. They don't have they don't get social with people. So deeply involved in their studies, practice. I don't know how, like, it is possible. I think it. I don't have to think about this. It is possible. I don't have to say something about that. Okay, now for moving forward, Doyle published other historical works, but he gained advantage of the up and coming Strand magazine 1891. By publishing short stories, there was economic gain. The home the Holmes short stories that he compiled became very popular with the reading public. The editor of the magazine, George Nunes, was dedicated to high class production and ample of illustrations, including the unforgettable visual image of Sherlock Holmes, designed by Sidney Paget. The theme of the Homelock stories garnered Doyle financial relief, but he was soon worn out of his protagonist and killed him off in The Final Problem 1893. Like, I've read this para, but uh, the less did I understand is that Doyle published a historical work and like gained a I think I've lost the understanding ability also because of not reading from for so many days. You like forget things, how your mind will process the information and the words and the the sentences which make meanings, right? So Strand magazine was the name of 1891 in which he published his short stories. Now, the theme of the Holmes stories garnered Doyle financial relief. Okay, now the thing is that his stories were sold and there was earning, so his family was having a financial relief till then, but he was soon worn out of his protagonist and killed him off in problem 1893. So, like, there was a character protagonist in his stories whom he killed in the final problem, his work The Final Problem 1893. Nevertheless, he later on returned to stories regarding his hero after the public clamor proved too complicated to disregard. Though Doyle did write other works and worked as a war reporter in Egypt, supported the British management of the Boer War. He oversaw a field hospital in South Africa in 1902. Doyle wrote one of his most famous Sherlock Holmes work, The Flaunt of Baskerville. Like, I had this uh, chapter called The Hound of the Baskervilles, and there's this another one, The Flaunt of Baskervilles. I have never read. I I might have read, but I don't remember. The Flaunt of, I think this is Flaunt of Baskervilles, and the another chapter which is another story which is I mean novel, Hound of the Baskervilles. Now, moving towards the 1912, Doyle came to the another enduring work, the Lost World. This is his another work which is called The Lost World, where this scene, I mean, the science fiction, this was the science fiction story centered on the personality of Professor Challenger's voyage to the Amazon, where he discovered a place in which dinosaurs and other prehistoric beasts still lived, and wrote many other. I mean, I just misread the line. During World War I, Doyle became hugely fascinated in spiritualism and wrote many works on the topic. This new focus by him developed much criticism, particularly about his support for the photographers of the Cottingill fairies. I don't know how to pronounce this word, Cottingill, Cottingill fairies. During this time, he continued to write poetry, short stories, pamphlets, and adventure novels. Some of his works dealt with humanitarian causes such as the crime of the Congo 1909, which excoriated the cruelty, I mean, like, excoriated the cruelty of the Belgians in the Congo. He did amazing. I don't know, like, people in early days were really involved in so much, and I don't I, like, people of my age right now, what should I be doing? I've been thinking about it. So basically, I decided to read for my college exam. I tell you about myself, or little did you know about me from my IDs. Like, if you follow, I mean, like, if you had subscribed me in YouTube, you can go to my Instagram also. I'm not a big person. I'm a novice in both the I was going to say planet. I'm novice in both the platforms, social media platforms. I also wanted to socialize, but the thing is that I don't know people. I can't find the people. when I go to college, I don't talk to people. Less of a people are my friends, and when I talk to them, we're just like we talk just for the like that 1 and 2 hours which we will spend together in class or maybe in giving exam. So okay, moving forward towards this biography. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle died on Conan Doyle died on July 7, 1930 of cardiac arrest. He was 71 years old. He married twice. His first wife, Louis, died of tuberculosis in 1906, and his second wife, Jane survived him. He had 5 children. He was buried in an unknown grave in unconsecrated ground outside a churchyard fence on account of his worldly spiritual religious beliefs. It was later extended and now contains his grave. There are still no publics. There are no public headstones. However, so basically, this was the biography of Sherlock Holmes, his family, his work, and the great work he had done, his novels. So, one of his work we are going to read, and this one is the novel he wrote. Its title is The Haunts of Baskervilles. Like this is the chapter in like this is the detective fiction. I'm going to read the summary. I'm not going to read the novel because I don't have it. Like it's expensive. So let's begin. The Haunt of Baskerville is the third crime novel of Arthur Conan Doyle featuring the detective Sherlock Holmes. Initially serialized as Trend magazine for from August 1901 to 1902, it is set mainly on Dartmoor in Devon in England's West Country and reveals the story of an unattempted murder encouraged by the legend of a frightening diabolical hound of the supernatural source. Holmes and Watson examine the case. This was the first appearance of Holmes ever since his demise in the final problem. Okay, we read about this that he killed protagonist in the final problem 1893. After that, he wrote the Hound of the Baskerville, and it it got succeeded. So this novel lead to the characters a ultimate rival. One of the most famous stories ever written in 2003. The book was like, okay, he wrote this novel in 2003. I mean, like, where did I just lost? What did I lost? One of the most famous stories ever written in 2003. The book was listed as number 128 to 2000. I mean 200 on the BBC's. He was alive. I mean, like, this was published during that time. I was just born not on the same year, but like before that. I was alive in this world. The Big Red Poll of the United Kingdom best loved novel in 1999. A poll of Sherlockans ranked it as the best of the four Holmes novel. Following the discovery of his friend Charles Baskerville body in the Yale alley, of his Devon manor on Dartmoor, Mr. James Mortimer, Mortimer. it, like, this is what it is. Like, when you don't read regularly, like, you have to read, right? This is very important to have, like, to understand and to keep processing your words. Like, I'm just reading the wrong pronunciation of his surname, Dr. James Mortimer. Like, this is how I was reading Mortimer. This is Mortimer. Dr. James Mortimer is the correct, I guess. Dr. James Mortimer, again Mortimer. This, like, basically, this is what happens when you don't read now. It's my fault. I'm reading it. Still, I'm reading. Let me try this once more. Mortimer, Mortimer. Let me exercise. Let my mouth muscle read this. Mortimer. Dr. James Mortimer consults Sherlock Holmes in London for advice. The demise was due to a cardiac arrest and was presented at the subsequent inquest as the only relevant factor. But according to Mortimer, I guess pronounced it correct. Still doubting myself that I have pronounced it right or not. Sure, I mean, like, let's moving further. Sir Charles' face retained an expression of terror, and not far from the corpus, the footprints of a colossal hound were evident. According to an old legend, a curse runs in the Baskerville family ever since the time of the English Civil War. Hugo Baskerville kidnapped and caused a fatality of maiden on the moor, only to be killed in turn by a gigantic demonic hound. Purportedly, the same. I mean, like, I don't know the meaning of this word. Purportedly, purportedly. The, I guess I'm pronouncing the correct word. I've read these words, but the thing is that it's been so long. I was not reading this. Honestly speaking, I was not reading any books and content. I was all into the on this social media, and I lost all my habits. I was losing all my habits, exercising. I don't know. Purport. Let me pronounce this one also. I guess mistakes makes man perfect if they practice. Like, practice makes man perfect. This is the right quote. So let me just practice, and you guys hear. Purportedly, purportedly, the same creature has been haunting the manor ever since, causing the untimely death of many Baskerville hires. Sir Charles thought in the plague of the haunt, and so does Mortimer, 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 who now worries for the next in line, Sir Henry Baskerville. Basically, this novel says that there is a, I mean, like, there is a curse on the Baskerville family, and it was from the English, till the time, since the time of the English Civil War. He, like, the heirs of this family, Baskerville family, were like, was like were unknowingly murdered by this demonic hound. And this hound is a creature which is not a fox, neither it is a dog. It is some kind of a like wild one. So, moving forward, although he dismisses the curse tale as nonsense, Homelock Holmes, I mean, like, Home agrees to meet Sir Henry in London as quick as Sir Henry arrives from Canada. Okay, let me just tell you this. This novel includes that, like, this is the story about the Baskerville family, and there was a murder in this family, and this case was being investigated by Holmes and Sherlock Holmes and Watson, the detective assistant. So, like, stories somehow like this, and moving forward, uh, after this, the Sir Henry Baskerville, he was the last one to survive, and he was very worried about the next hire who's going to be killed. So although he dismisses the curse tale as nonsense, he believes that this curse is nonsense. But Holmes agrees to meet Sir Henry in London as quick as, um, this Henry was in London and the murder was in Baskerville. I don't know where. England. Okay, this villa was was this Baskerville was the home of this Baskerville was in England, and this last hire from Baskerville family was in London. So Hemlock, I mean Sherlock Holmes was wanted to meet Sir Henry. Um, okay, now moving forward. Sir Henry arrives from Canada, where he has been putting up. He is a young and jolly, good looking guy, spectacled towards the gloomy legend and keen to take control of Baskerville Hall. Even though he has just established an anonymous note in the mail forewarning him to stay away from the moor. So, this murder more, and there was a letter written in it that he should be staying away from the moor. When somebody shadows Sir Henry while he is walking down a lane, nevertheless, Holmes asked Watson to go with the young guy, and let me just flip the page. Mortimer Mortimer to Dartmoor in order to guard Sir Henry and look for his clues regarding who is threatening his life. Like, here the Mortimer to Dartmoor, he ordered that you have to guard the Sir Henry, and you have to look the clues regarding who is threatening his life. The group of three arrives at Baskerville Hall, a grand and imposing manor run by a butler and his wife. The housekeeper in the housekeeper imposing manor run by. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong sentences, wrong lines. Uh, the group of three arrives as Baskerville Hall, a grand and imposing manor run by a butler and his wife. The housekeeper in the middle of a sizable park. The estate is bordered by the Grimpen Mere, where both people and animal can perish, and is surrounded by the and it was surrounded by the moor. The bleak surroundings and disappearing atmosphere are heightened by the news that this was the news that a murderer and convict named Selden has escaped from the adjacent Dartmoor prison and is hiding in the local hills. Dartmoor is a prison in at that place, and there was a news that this murderer and convict named Selden had escaped from the prison. There are incomprehensible actions during the first night, keeping the guests away, and only in the daytime can Watson and Sir Henry rest while exploring the neighborhood and meeting the inhabitants of the district. Watson keeps on searching for any lead to the identity of those threatening Sir Henry's life. The devotedly sends the details of his inquiry to Holmes. Okay, by the time Holmes was not there at Dartmoor, so only Watson was there to inquiry, and he was sending all the inquiry details to him. Amongst the residents and Stapletons, like this is another character, Staplestone, Staplestone, Stapletons. Like, let me practice this surname. I don't know. Like in India, we don't have these kind of like these surnames. So Stapleton's brother and sister stand out. Jake is over friendly and a bit too inconsecutive towards the recently arrived, while Barley, a rare beauty seems Beryl, a rare beauty seems all too tried of the place and tries to warn Sir Henry via Watson of danger. Like this para says that there are characters like Watson, Henry, Stapleton's brother and sister. There is one more character, Jake, who was over friendly, and a lady who's beautiful. Her name is Beryl. Beryl. These names like American people name England, like foreign names are very difficult to pronounce for me. Now, remote halls. Moving forward to the another para. Remote halls and bizarre sightings trouble Watson throughout his lengthy walks on the hills, and his temper gets on better even in Baskerville Hall. Watson grows suspicious of the butler, Barrymore, who during the night appears to be signaling from a window of the house with a candle to somebody on the moor. In the meantime, Sir Henry is drawn to Beryl, who seems to be frightened of her brother's view on the matter. To make the mystery even more difficult, there is Mortimer, who is all too keen to persuade Sir Henry that the curse is real. Frankland, an aged and ill-tempered neighbor who likes to who likes to pry with his telescope into other people's activities. His separated daughter Laura, who had unclear ties to Sir Charles, and even a bearded person wandering free in the hills and apparently hiding on a tour when Etty Tomes, Etty, I mean, like Etty, who calls this word Etty? I did, but this is antique tomes have been excavated by Mortimer for an unclear reason. Trust me, I'll bring the Hindi, like, I'll explain this novel in Hindi also. I will, because I also wanted to understand this very clearly as I can have the story to recite. Stranger to everybody, even to his friend Watson, Holmlock has been hiding on the moor all the time and did solve the mystery. He discloses that the hound is real and belongs to Stapleton, who seduced who seduced Laura and pursued her to tempt Charles out of his house by night, in order to terrify him with the ghost of the legendary hound Beryl, is certainly Jack's legal wife, ill-treated and enforced into posing as his sister to seduce Henry and expose him also to the facts of the Horn, since Stapleton is in fact a successor of Baskervilles, wanting wanting to claim their inheritance. Meanwhile, the Hound is set on to a man thinking to be Sir Henry, but Barrymore had given the former's clothes to Selden, his brother-in-law, who passes away in his place. Like Selden was the brother-in-law of Barrymore. I mean, I'm not getting who's. I mean, who's what and who is who's what. Okay, let we will figure out later on. Unluckily, the collected proof is not sufficient for a panel of judges to denounce Stapleton. So Holmes decided to utilize Sir Henry Baskerville as bait to grab the criminal in broad daylight. Sir Henry will accept an invitation to I mean, Staple, Stapleton's, Stapleton's. Okay, next time I'll just pronounce the correct pronunciation, and I'll watch the video and also listen the correct pronunciation, and the next time I'll be like, I should have done it earlier, but I decided to just read the chapter right away. Will accept an invitation. Let's continue. Sir Henry will accept an invitation to Stapleton's abode and will walk back alone after dark, giving his rival every chance to set free and haunt on him. Holmes and Watson imagine departing Dartmoor by train, but instead they conceal near Stapleton's house with Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard. Despite the dark and a deep talk, Holmes and Watson were able to kill the frightening beast as soon as it attacks the intended victim, while Stapleton, in his dreaded flight from the scene, is assumed to sink in the mere. This was the summary of this novel. I guess I myself didn't get the point clearly, but next time I'll probably bring it more understanding and will bring in layman language. I wanted to study for this. I had to read this once again and I wanted to understand. I had to prepare the question answers also. I'm going to have the exam on 16th. I read this chapter, I do know the story, but I need to reread it and re-understand the base details and gather much of a content, I guess. This is what I can say. Content in my exam. Like, thank you for listening and watching, whoever is there. I can't see anyone there, but I guess today I did my job. I mean, not the job, I did my practice of reading the chapter, and I'm doing it because I wanted to improve my pronunciation and I know I'm not communicating here with someone, but I guess I'll improve my communication. Want to I'm saying this word. I mean, I like that this statement is like very common in my, how, what to say, like repetition of words. I have to use. I must new, and like talking to myself like this and reading the book with new vocabulary. I'll pronunciation of words. I'll improve my pronunciation of words, and I'll improve so much, I think. So thank you for watching, and thank you for listening, and thank you for um, whatever. I guess I'll upload another one also. So keep studying, keep drinking water, keep feeding your brain like with the vocabulary, knowledge, facts, concept, and the news also, just to keep yourself with going on, like circulating in the country. I'm saying it because there are times when I don't read news, I don't keep up with the news, and times scrolling reels and being in social media, so wasting time. I thought this is the correct way I can change myself somehow. I think it's never too late to do take steps. So bye.